Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, the fourth in the Beverly Hills Cops franchise that originally made Eddie Murphy a big star back in the 1980s. So 30 years after the events of the third Beverly Hills Cops movie, Eddie Murphy finally manages to get a legacy sequel. And while this hasn't always worked with him, such as with Coming to America 2, this thankfully doesn't leave any of the edge off. This is as R-rated as it gets, while also happens to tread new ground when it comes to some of its relationships. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story revolves around Axel Foley, played once again by Eddie Murphy, as he heads to Beverly Hills one more time when he finds that his daughter Jane, played by Taylor Page, has been threatened after she takes a case that involves a bunch of dirty cops and someone who's been framed for a murder. So after Axel meets up with his old cop buddies again, he also meets Bobby Abbott, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And Axel Foley has to do his usual bit of fast-talking quipping as he goes throughout Beverly Hills trying to solve the case while also trying to reconnect with his estranged daughter, who naturally isn't very happy that this is the first time she's getting to see her dad again after so many years. You know, that old plot device. So yeah, the story here does have some bits that you've seen in a bunch of other films of this type, but what helps this film stand out on its own merits is the fact that not a lot of the film feels like it's at Eddie Murphy's expense. You know how a lot of legacy sequels feel like they have to make the characters either older, less competent, less worth your time, and just less fun than they were in the previous films? Here, while Eddie Murphy is clearly older, he definitely has the same quippy energy that he had before. Plus, he's still able to work well in the action scenes. On top of that, Taylor Page works well as Jane, as you do understand why she is the way she is, why she has a problem with her estranged dad, especially since she hasn't seen him in the universe for a while. And while she does end up playing a damsel in distress role at one point, she actually manages to help out in the film's climax, which is more than I expected of both her and her actress, to be honest. And yeah, most of the returning characters from the film play their roles pretty well. Chief Taggart returns, and he hasn't been in the series since Beverly Hills Cop 2. I think his scenes were among some of the more humorous of the film. And on top of that, Kevin Bacon plays the villain. And he's actually a pretty decent one. I'm not sure he's going to be as well known as the villains from the 80s films or even the ones from Beverly Hills Cop 3, but he works well when it comes to what the film wants to say and what it wants to do. Now, as far as its action scenes are considered, they're distinctly more old-fashioned than something you'd find in, say, the new Bad Boys movies. It isn't as over-the-top as those films, and it doesn't employ the same interesting camera work or interesting new film technology, but it happens to do well when it comes to old school car chases, old school gun battles, and when it comes to one scene that takes place on a helicopter. It definitely doesn't feel generic. It still feels like it has the humor and it has the charisma that made the Beverly Hills Cop movies stand out. And it even manages to have a pretty heartwarming ending when it comes down to it, both between Eddie Murphy and his daughter, and when it comes to Axel Foley and the various police buddies that he has. I'm not sure if it's going to please everybody, but it definitely felt like a legacy sequel that doesn't feel the need to make its star look like an idiot for the sake of, modernizing it. It's distinctly old school, it just happens to take place in 2024. That's why I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. See you next time.